You know, one of the things I love about having an internet-based business is our ability as online entrepreneurs to access tools, software, systems, and people all across the globe to help automate and outsource and systemize our operations, our business, our procedures. There's really been nothing like it. You know, no business has had the opportunity, no traditional offline business really has had the ability that we as online entrepreneurs have. And so I want to talk about where you get started with that type of stuff. You know, how do you get started outsourcing? What should you look at? That's what I'm going to talk about in today's drive.
The Drive.
Good morning, welcome to The Drive. It's Dean here, of course, on the way to Internet Profits HQ. And I feel a little bunged up this morning. Like, I think it's, I don't think I've got a cold as such, but last night had a pretty late night. Didn't get to bed till about 2 a.m, which is, I'm just not that kind of guy anymore. It really affects me, late nights. It really breaks the routine I have. But needs must sometimes. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do in business. And we had a webinar. That started at 11 p.m. UK time, and it ran for about an hour 45 to 2 hours, something like that. And then finished up a few other bits and came home. So I want to talk about outsourcing. It's an area that was always so unknown to me for a long time in my business. I always struggled with things like, what should be outsourced first? How do you do it? Where do you go? Who do you outsource to? What type of person should I be looking for? And then how do you train them? How do you teach them? Because I made some huge mistakes with outsourcing early on in my business. Well, some mistakes that ultimately went on to teach me a lot, but I want to share that mistake with you in just a second. But before I do that, let's talk about first, like, what should you be looking to outsource, or what can you outsource? Well, the bottom line is ultimately is you can outsource most things that you could choose to. That doesn't mean everything should be outsourced. So let's look at the areas then where something's making a rattling noise in here and it's really annoying me. Let's look at the things then that you probably should outsource. Anything that is taking your time unnecessarily can and should be outsourced. So, for example, customer support, right? Answering emails, responding to support requests. If you are promoting products, if you have a website, if you have an email list, you will be receiving emails, either replies to your broadcasts, contacts through your blog, contacts through your website. If you sell your own products, you're definitely going to have customer support. You should not be dealing with that yourself. It is okay to have a handle on the support, as in, are we having major problems? You know, you should have a handle, you should know what's going on, but you shouldn't be dealing with the day-to-day customer support. That's a big thing. And responding to your emails can be outsourced quickly and easily. It is going to differ based on business. If you have a blog and you post regularly to your blog, you could just create the content and outsource the uploading or the publishing of that blog post to somebody else, to a virtual assistant. If you post videos online, content online, all of that could be uploaded by an assistant and published to the video sharing sites like YouTube and Vimeo and other websites. If you assess, the best way I would say to do this, assess everything you do to drive your business forwards, okay? And if you find you are struggling for time or struggling to do enough of what you want and need to do to drive your business forwards, then review the processes, look for what can be passed off, and pass off and outsource those things. Now, here's something that I've got to make you aware of though, and here's where my big mistake of the past comes into play. So I, early on in my business, probably, what would it have been? 2009, 2010, started to look at outsourcing. And I thought, great, I'm going to get a virtual assistant. And I got a virtual assistant. There was, being paid a few bucks an hour, someone in the Philippines. And it was actually really good, looking back, great. But I let them down because I got this virtual assistant. I started thinking, well, they can do all this different stuff. They can answer my emails, they can do this, they can do my blog posts, they can do this and that and this and that. But what I didn't take into account is, when you typically hire someone like a virtual assistant, they do not know your process. They do not know how to do what you've been doing. They don't understand how to answer your emails. They don't understand the responses to give in those emails. They don't necessarily know how to upload the blog post. Obviously you can find virtual assistants with skills, but what I did, I expected this virtual assistant to just be able to take everything off my hands, get on with it, and I could walk away. Which, of course, was not true, was not accurate, was not correct. So what actually happened was, every single day, I began to almost resent this person, because in my head, they should be getting on with the work. In their head, they want to get on with the work, but they don't know how. And I didn't put in the time to create processes. I didn't put in the time to create training and manuals, perhaps, like procedures, standard operating procedures. How should something be done? What steps do you have to go through to do it? So, outsourcing is and can be and will be a very valuable thing to you at the right stage of your business. But understand that to maximize the effects, positive effects of outsourcing, I would start creating process manuals and tutorial videos now whilst you're doing things yourself. Record yourself doing it, okay? So if you are publishing a blog post, record the process. Set up a screen recording software. You can use either Camtasia, or a free one is something called Loom. Record your screen, talk yourself through the process, so that when you want to teach someone else or have someone else do that thing, you've got a catalogue of walkthrough videos, so you can say, right, I want you to upload the blog post for me. Here's a video on how to do that. And if you start doing that now, I guarantee you, when you come to outsource, or even if you start employing a team as you really grow, you will find the transition so much easier, so much more effective, and so much faster. Because believe me, you do things wrong with outsourcing, it can be painful, and it can actually cost you more time than doing the stuff yourself. But you do it the right way, it's going to be pretty painless transition, and you can really just start to hand off your work and focus your 80% of your attention on the 20% of things you're doing that actually produce the majority of your results. So I hope this is helpful. If it is, please like, please comment if you've got anything to contribute to the discussion of outsourcing. And if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, hit that subscribe button. Follow up with us and stay in touch with us here at Internet Profits HQ. We love sharing these daily videos, so hit subscribe, and I'll talk to you again in another episode of The Drive. Thanks for joining us.